They fined me $500 for swimming in my own lake. So I billed them $5,000 for trespassing. Guess who actually paid up? It was supposed to be a peaceful Sunday afternoon. Sun out, breeze steady. Just me, my floating donut, and the lake my grandfather left me. I was drifting in the shallows, soaking in the quiet, until I heard shouting. "You're in violation of HOA recreational use codes." I sat up, blinking through my sunglasses. Standing at the end of my dock was a woman in a pressed tin uniform and mirrored shades. Clipboard in hand, voice sharp as a snapped twig. "You can't be swimming here unless you pay the $500 lake use permit." I actually laughed, because this was my lake, not a shared pond, not a community perk. My land, my water, my dock. So when I said, "Ma'am, you're standing on my property," and she replied, "This whole subdivision follows HOA guidelines," I knew this wasn't going to be a normal afternoon. She handed me a fine, $500, signed by someone who had no jurisdiction over me. What she didn't know? I had survey maps, property lines, deeds older than her HOA charter, and more importantly, I had a plan. You ever find a man on his own land? Yeah, this story gets expensive, but not for me. Let me take you back a bit. The lake I was floating on, that lake has been in my family since 1963. My grandfather bought 80 acres of ranch land with a spring-fed body of water at its heart. That lake was the soul of this ranch. We fished there, swam there, even hosted weddings and baptisms on its dock. Fast forward to now. I live here, full-time. My cabin is just a short walk from the dock. No HOA, no nonsense. Or so I thought. See, a few years ago, a subdivision popped up on the other side of the property line. A developer bought up land adjacent to mine and sold plots under an HOA umbrella. I didn't care. Their fences were up. Their bylaws were their business. Until they started crossing mine. It began with little things. Hikers cutting through my fence line. HOA maintenance trucks using my access road to haul mulch. But I was neighborly. I waved it off. Filed it under minor annoyances. Then Karen showed up. Her actual name is Deborah. But the neighborhood calls her HOA Karen, for good reason. She's the self-appointed sheriff of all things regulated. She first approached me 6 months ago, clipboard in hand, smiling like a politician who just knocked on your door at dinner. "Hi, just wanted to welcome you to the HOA." "I'm not part of the HOA," I replied. "Oh, but you live within the governing radius. We oversee community compliance within 1,000 feet of the subdivision." That was the first red flag. I explained, calmly, that my land was never annexed, nor was I under any easement. I even showed her the county plat map. She just nodded like she was humoring me. 2 weeks later, a letter. HOA letterhead. Reminder, all residents must comply with lake use safety rules. Swimming is prohibited without a permit. I ignored it. So did the ducks, I noticed. Then came the warning signs. Literally, metal placards hammered into the path to my dock. Private HOA lake. Permit required. I removed them, took photos, sent them to the HOA office. No response. Until one afternoon when I found a group of teenagers fishing at my lake. I asked where they were from. "Oh, Miss Karen said the lake was community property now. Said it got folded into the HOA last year." Folded in? That's when I started digging. I pulled deeds. I reviewed county filings. I called a friend who worked in zoning. My lake dock. And the entire path leading to it were well outside the subdivision boundary. Still, the HOA doubled down. I received a $250 non-compliance penalty for removing signs, a $500 fine for unauthorized swimming activity. Each notice came with escalating language, collections, liens, court involvement. That was when I realized they weren't confused. They were testing me, testing whether a quiet rancher would back down if poked enough times. Spoiler, I don't poke easy. I scheduled a meeting with the county assessor. That day, I learned 2 things. 1, my land was legally excluded from HOA zoning. 2, the HOA's new access map was filed but never approved. And the kicker? They had been stepping onto my land for enforcement. They were trespassing. That's when I smiled for the first time in weeks. Because that's when the fines flipped directions. And believe me, that was just the beginning. If I thought it couldn't get any crazier, oh, I was wrong. The day after I met with the assessor, I noticed a brand new lock on my dock gate. A shiny brass padlock with a Laminated tag. HOA safety compliance. Locked until fine is paid. They locked me out of my own dock. I stood there stunned. Then I chuckled. Then I took pictures. I clipped the lock with bolt cutters and dropped it in a Ziploc bag. Evidence. Next day, a certified letter arrived. Tampering with HOA equipment is a criminal offense. You are in violation of Code 47B. I looked up 47B. It was about lawn decoration height. That's when I knew they were throwing darts in the dark. But they weren't done. Karen herself returned. This time with a rent-a-cop in tow. Some guy in a gray uniform and aviators, who looked like he got kicked out of mall security school. They stood at the dock, pointing, barking, telling me to get out of the water. I was floating in my donut tube, just outside casting distance. Calm. Sunbathing. I held up my phone. You two are being recorded. And just so you know, you're trespassing. Karen shouted. We have jurisdiction. Not according to the county. That was the first time I saw doubt flicker across her face. The officer looked uncomfortable. Ma'am, maybe we should go. She stormed off. He followed. 3 days later, they towed my truck. Not from their property. From my driveway. They claimed it violated HOA visibility rules. I had to drive 30 miles to get it back and pay $180 to the towing company. I was livid, but I didn't raise my voice. I raised my pen. I filed a police report. I emailed my county clerk, and then I sent a cease and desist letter to the HOA, signed by my attorney. That's when things went full circus. The HOA posted flyers all over the neighborhood, claiming I was a hostile resident, threatening the peace. They warned neighbors not to approach me, said I was under investigation. Funny thing is, I was under investigation, but not how they thought. I had requested a legal audit on the HOA's recent filings. Turns out, they'd been fining people outside of their jurisdiction for months. Quiet retirees, immigrants, people too intimidated to argue. And those fines? No public accounting. It was fraud. That realization burned through me. So I upped the ante. I printed a huge sign and posted it. Right by the dock. Private property. Trespassers will be billed. Underneath it, documented violations will be forwarded to county authorities. I installed trail cams. Night vision enabled. Next morning, I caught HOA Karen unlocking my dock gate with bolt cutters, same ones I had used. I had the footage, the audio, the timestamps. You could say I was ready to deliver a bill of my own. I didn't just want an apology. I wanted accountability. So I drafted an invoice. Trespassing violation notice, Karen C/HOA officer. Date, August 12th. Location, coordinates. Description, unlawful entry, vandalism, bolt cutters, harassment. Amount, $5,000. I mailed it, certified. I also included a screenshot of her mid-trespass, timestamped, alongside the zoning map. I even highlighted the exact line where her feet crossed my boundary. But I didn't stop there. I built a simple website titled, My Land, Not Yours. I posted all the evidence, survey maps, trail cam videos, HOA letters, even the bogus fine about lawn flamingos I never had. Then I shared the link with every homeowner in the subdivision. A few neighbors reached out. Wait, I got fined too for walking my dog. They said that patch of grass was theirs. They towed my trailer off a space I've parked on for years. The emails poured in. One couple asked me for the name of my attorney. Momentum. Karen tried damage control. A new letter arrived. Due to confusion over boundary lines, your past fines are rescinded. Nice try. I wrote back. Not good enough. The violation was yours. Pay the invoice. Then I got creative. I threw a little event. Lake Freedom Day. I invited neighbors. Floats. Barbecue. Big sign. HOA free zone. Karen showed up, livid. This is inciting division. No. I smiled, sipping sweet tea. This is a community understanding what you've been doing. The sheriff came by. I handed him the footage and reports. He nodded. Yeah, we'll be forwarding this to the DA. Karen's face dropped. The board held a meeting. She was removed the following week. And one fine spring day, I received a check, made out to me, from the HOA. Amount, $5,000. Memo line, settlement. I framed it, right above the dock gate. The morning the check cleared, I treated myself. I walked down to the lake in that same donut float, legal envelope in hand, and drifted out past the dock. The sun glittered off the water. My phone camera was already rolling. Cue the perfect image, me, bobbing like a smug little buoy, holding the $5,000 settlement high like a championship trophy. That video, let's just say it made the rounds. Karen, meanwhile, had gone dark, removed from the board. Her position now under review, according to the HOA minutes. A few sympathetic neighbors told me. She'd been warned to stay away from all lake-adjacent properties. Poetic, right? The sheriff's department followed up. They collected more complaints, more footage. Apparently, I wasn't the only one with trespass footage. A retired veteran 2 streets over had similar run-ins, but never felt brave enough to fight back. He sent me a message. Thanks for leading the charge. You made the rest of us feel like we could, too. That meant more than the check. But the real cherry on top? A county bulletin. Official. Dry as toast. The HOA, known as Name Redacted, has been fined for issuing citations outside their jurisdiction. The board has been ordered to cease enforcement activities on non-HOA land. A compliance audit is underway. I printed it, laminated it, posted it beside the dock. Next to it, a new sign. Yes, you may fish here, if you have my permission. Otherwise, see the county order posted beside you. Not long after, I received an unexpected visitor, a new HOA board member. Young guy, nervous smile. Sir, I just wanted to say you were right. And we're fixing things. We want to make sure this never happens again. I appreciated the gesture. Told him, just respect the lines and we'll all get along fine. He nodded. Before he left, he said, Karen listed this as one of the lakes managed by the HOA on our official site. We took it down. It was never right to begin with. Exactly. That was the end of it. No more fake fines. No more signs. No more clipboards and barking. Just birds, water, and peace. Except on weekends, when folks I invite come by for fishing, kayaking, or to hear the story. And yeah, the framed check still hangs right over the door to my tackle shed. A $5,000 reminder. You mess with the lake, you pay the tide. Funny thing about peace, you never appreciate it until someone tries to take it. That lake isn't just water. It's memory. It's legacy. It's Sunday mornings and fireflies and my grandfather's old fishing pole still hanging in the shed. For someone to walk in and try to claim that because they have a clipboard and an attitude? Unacceptable. But here's what I learned. The quiet folks, the ones who keep to themselves, who respect land and live without fanfare, we're not weak. We're patient. And patience? That's what wins wars like this. Karen thought her rules trumped reality. That if she repeated her lies loud enough, long enough, they'd become true. But the truth doesn't bend to clipboard signatures. So what's the takeaway? Know your boundaries. Literally and figuratively. Stand your ground with calm, informed confidence. And document everything. When you fight back smart, not loud, you win big. I still swim in that lake every week. Still float in that donut tube. Though now I do it with a Bluetooth speaker and a playlist. I like to call Karen's greatest hits. Track 1. Trespassers will be billed. So tell me, what would you have done? Would you have backed down? Would you have fought back? Drop a comment below with one word: justice. And if you've ever had to deal with an out-of-control HOA, share your story. I read every single one. Like, subscribe, and remember, the lake always wins, especially when it belongs to you. Until next time, stay free, stay sharp, and don't let anyone fence you in.